Welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Laurie Laursen, living life, curious, fun, playful, and here's to another day. So as I was getting ready to record today's show, I was looking at it and I was like, Tasty Tuesday. I kind of want to talk about something different than Tasty Tuesday, although I find so much about life very tasty. And so this subject is. And I was also looking at seeing that a Tasty Tuesday or a title of Tasty Tuesday can be a limitation or a inspiration depending on how it gets used each Tuesday. Now, what I noticed is I actually didn't really want to go to where I thought I should do a recipe. And I had messaged a friend and said, hey, what do you think of these themes that I'm doing each day? And she's like, well, what do you think is actually fun for you? You could actually break your own rules. And I was like, say what? And then it popped into my head. So the other day, my hubby and I, we went on to Netflix and we were going to watch an episode of Grace and Frankie. And what popped up right away as a highlight on recently added was the Bill Murray stories. Now, my hubby and I both like Bill Murray. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's an actor. And so this show shows up and we kind of look at each other and we're like, oh, well, that sounds kind of good. It was an hour and 11 minutes. It was something we kind of, the right amount of time for what we wanted to sit for. And we thought, well, what the heck? Let's watch that instead. So we start watching it. It's this documentary done by this Tommy Avalon, and it's about Bill Murray and how Bill Murray apparently, now I did not know this about him, but what he does is he does these random things. He just literally shows up in people's experiences, people's lives, at bars, in different places around the world. A band could be playing and he goes up on stage. It could be in a bar and he goes behind the bar. It could be that he walks into someone's house party and starts dancing and doing karaoke with them. It could be photo bombing, but not necessarily a photo bomb, but be invited into like an engagement photo. And he just kind of shows up. But what's really interesting about him, there was just so much that was fascinating about this documentary, was that, oh God, there's like so many places I could go with this. So one of the things that was really interesting is he lives life largely the way he desires to live life. He actually really doesn't give a poop what anyone else thinks. He's almost like an enigma of sorts, that's my word, by how he chooses that. So he doesn't do it in a way that's kind of like an FU. He does it in a way where you're like so excited he's there, but he becomes like one of you that's there. And just an everyday person enjoying life, having a good time. But it's so much by the way of what he chooses that makes it be something that's actually greater, and yet it's an everyday thing. So it's really cool because he, in this one particular situation, he showed up at this one party where these guys have a band in their house, and people were dancing. He shows up. He joins the band. He's playing tambourine with the band. Then he's dancing, just enjoying himself, just being a really like an everyday person. And then he leaves. So and I'm like, isn't that crazy? Like, it actually said that he, instead of allowing things that we would usually use to be afraid to choose, he actually looks for those kind of things and chooses them. But yet, I don't get that he does it like an irresponsible person. Like he uses his awareness with it. He shows up to a party because there's something in his world that feels right about it to him. He shows up and it just sort of creates greater for him and for everyone else. He doesn't do this so that he looks greater. He doesn't do it for the accolades. He actually does it because he's living life large, and he shows up and lives life large while he's there, and then he leaves. And it's like he sprinkles little bits of himself wherever he goes. Oh, God. Like, could you imagine having the courage to just go anywhere, be anywhere, join a group of people, and just be yourself and enjoy yourself and then go home? Like, no pre-thought, no thought of no expectations of what you're doing there. And no, as you leave, there was no justification as to why you were there. Why did you choose it? What did you leave behind? It was just living life so incredibly in the moment. And the other thing that really blew me away about him is that he does not have an agent, nor I think it's a producer. So he doesn't have two different roles that most actresses have. He literally has a 1-800 number that you can phone if you'd like to get a hold of him, that he maybe checks every 4 to 6 months. So you can phone him endlessly. Like, number one, I guess it's not easy to get this number, but when you do get this number, you could call it. He may or may not ever call you back. So in this documentary, Sofia Coppola, I hope I'm saying that right, is a director, and she was the one who directed the movie Lost in Translation that he starred in. And she wanted him in the movie. And so she phoned his 1-800 number. I think it was for something like for a whole year, and never heard back from him. She even said what she wanted him for. She never heard back from him. And then she started asking around, and then through some way ended up getting a hold of him or running into him. And he said, "Oh, well, that sounds interesting. I'll think about it." So literally, he was just going to think about it. And she still, and I don't know if he said he was going to get back to her or what the story was. I just don't remember. I'd like to watch the documentary again, because I get that I just even get more of an expansive energy about this. Like, how many of us could be just such a rebel to just not fit into what are the rules or the norm or what we think we should do or be done with life, And so anyways, Sophia still hadn't heard from him, and she thought, well, what the heck, I'm going to go start shooting the movie. She starts to shoot the movie or whatever, gets set up at the location, and he shows up. And like, you can just see, like, could you imagine almost like what a rebellious way that is in this world today, to be able to just truly live life as yourself, moment to moment, not seeing yourself as any greater or less than anyone else, but a person that this whole world is like a game. This whole world is your playground, that you can come and go as you please, and that it creates greater. But that's not even always your target, because you get in his world by watching this video that he doesn't do it for anything. He just does it because he can do it. And but to have so much trust, like as an actor, to know that a role will just come to him. He doesn't even have a need in his world to do another movie. Like, you're so aware of the needlessness in his world, the needlessness for other people, the needlessness for having fans, the needlessness for being famous, the needlessness for is life going to be fun or not? He just creates it moment to moment. And it was really interesting because after the movie was done, both my hubby and I went on Wikipedia. And if you read on his page on Wikipedia, people have criticized him for like, well, he's really hard to get a hold of. And it's funny because what it actually says in the Wikipedia is that he actually comments that it's actually harder to write a really good script than it is to find him. So if they can write a really good script, they can find him. And like there's such a confidence. Like it's like the word arrogance is given such a bad rap. It's made it like it's so wrong. But what if we were so arrogantly confident in ourselves, so arrogantly confident in ourselves as a contribution to this world, that we are amazing, that we are a contribution, that we have a right to sort of be here and experience life as anyone else, that there's not a hierarchy, like what if, oh my gosh, like to have that freedom to be able to just come and go and enjoy life. Oh, there's just such a beauty to it. And so I wonder if this arrogant confidence that we could have could be judged in a way that's so beautiful rather than wrong. Because really, like, it's almost like some people could take his life, Bill Murray's life, and look at it and go, wow, he's really arrogant. Or does he just really know what works for himself? And that usually the people that are going to criticize him, and I don't know this is the case, but usually the people that criticize others are usually when we think that someone else should be doing something different than what we or others are doing. And what if it's not wrong? And even on his Wikipedia page it shows, well, he can be difficult to work with and stuff like that. And would we be willing to be difficult to work with? Like, would we let ourselves live our own lives so much that we would be difficult to work with? And I may or may not be talking about Bill Murray here. This could be just have to do with us. Like, would we be willing to be difficult to work with? Would we willing to be difficult coworkers, difficult, parents, difficult kids, difficult friends, difficult partners? Like, would we be willing to be so arrogantly confident with our own knowing that we're willing to lead the way in our own lives and trust? Like, imagine the amount of trust we'd have to have in the universe. Like, I get in Bill Murray's world, I don't even think he questions it. Like, he doesn't question, does he have trust or not have trust in the universe? It's like, why would you even ask that question? Of course. Like, to know that the universe is going to have his back, that when he goes into these situations or bars or whatever, that everything is just going to be looked after. Actually, what is so funny? He actually worked in a bar on this show, like not worked for money, but the bar owner asked this one of his waiters who was just off for the night if Bill Murray would go behind the bar and just serve drinks. Well, he was like, sure, I'll go do it. So Bill goes behind the bar, and apparently people would order drinks and he would just give them whatever. Like if someone said, could have a rye and Coke, and tequila was the closest thing, he'd pour tequila in a glass and that's what the person would get. And nobody complained. Like, what would it take to be that energy? Like, to be what he's being, that wherever you went in life, everybody was just so happy to see you and you were received everywhere you went, and no one cared what you did or didn't do because it was just so awesome to be around you. And again, like, it's not for people to be around you in the way that you're greater than them, because like it's almost like Bill Murray won't even let you do that. Like, he stays so authentic to himself, that he doesn't allow you almost energetically, like you can't put him on a pedestal. That's what makes him so exciting, or makes the situations, like if you run into him, is that he's just so real with you. And I just wonder, it's like when we're around kids, like my grandsons, when they're just being themselves. And I've got 2 grandsons with 2 different personalities. And when they're just being themselves, like themselves, it's like magical. It's just such an invitation. And what if that's what Bill Murray is being? It's not because he's famous. Like him being famous allows the invitation for this to show up differently, because most of us will let ourselves receive that energies with kids. And, as we start to get older and become more, fit into whatever society expects of us, or we think we should be, or whatever, we then become something that's not ourselves. And what if what we're really picking up on him is his authenticity to himself? Anyways, oh my gosh, you guys, I got to watch this documentary again. I got so much from it. If you watch it, I'd love to hear what you guys think. And if not, like, what would it be like for you to be, me to be, us to be more arrogantly confident with ourselves, and have that be just an incredibly, incredibly beautiful invitation to ourselves and others. That part's nice too. And what if it's just for ourselves? Anyways, you guys, thanks again so much for listening. And I hope you have an amazing day. And, play with it. We don't have to be Bill Murray. What would that like to be us, choosing just to be ourselves? So on that note, people, big hugs to you. Have a great one. And I look forward to chatting with you next time. Have a great day.